Okay, so welcome, Stephanie. So basically, this is Double Demons. We're working on some different motion capture tests for some romance animations. Here, you can come in a little bit closer
Yeah,
for the microphone.
sure.
So basically, we're gonna do a couple tests just in our normal clothes to make sure that things are calibrated, and then we'll put on the motion capture suits and make sure things work for a couple of different scenes.
Sure.
All right, cool.
Cool.
All right, and have you ever done anything like this before?
I have never done anything like this
Okay,
before.
yeah. So just a heads up, there's like, it's gonna be a little bit goofy, but it should be super fun, and then we'll have the character animations in the game for some of the romance scenes that are going on.
Yeah.
All right,
Cool.
All right, follow me into the other room.
Sure.
So the basic idea here is you take what is a normal part of animations, especially motion capture animations, where you're basically capturing the movements in all like 8 directions. So you think like forward, sideways would be like strafing. So kind of all the directions of movement without rotating to face it. Because you could do an animation where you just rotate the character model in all directions, but I don't think it looks as pretty and it's not as fun. Like you get a lot more animations that way. So the basic idea is to combine what would be normally like a movement blend tree, an array of animations for getting close to another character, and then also for kissing another character. And the main point of this is to make the mechanics all like romance actions, whether it's like holding hands, hugging, or kissing, to be a fully like dynamic mechanic like you think of like punching. And I'm sort of merging that with what you would think of as like, like assassination animations or execution animations where you're locked to a more complex animation. But if you record that like, in a Assassin's Creed or like God of War, it would be maybe locked to like your approach direction. But if you recorded that same kind of like an attack, or in this case, a kiss from all 8 directions, then you could actually turn that into like a dynamic approach where if you pre-commit, and this is the way the mechanics work in the game, if you pre-commit to like, okay, I'm going to try to kiss this person and your sexual tension is high enough, then as you approach the person and get close enough, your player character will automatically attempt regardless of the direction, which would look far more awkward if you had to get in front of them because the character is doing their own stuff. So I very much don't have like paused cutscenes where you're prompted, do you want to kiss the person? It's more like there's a dynamic sexual tension bar, which takes into account factors like, are you alone? Your close proximity and their attraction towards you multiplied by their frustration towards you because teasing and flirting is very much a sexual tension enhancer, and then divided by the amount of guilt, which is a sort of like an inhibitor, I guess you could say. So basically, the idea is that the game camera will shift from like a kind of over-the-shoulder third person to a like profile view. I'm still working on that, so we'll see how that comes together. This is very much just kind of like a test. So basically, what I'm attempting to do here is kind of map out how we would do a more natural kissing animation so that once we put on the motion capture suits, we don't become total robots. That can help a little bit. Something that I like to call mocap face is basically where you put on the motion capture suit, and it's such a strange thing being in like a suit that's super tight and got Velcro straps all over that it's really hilarious and fun, but you kind of forget the performance aspect, which is to try and act more normally. So anyways, the idea here is, and we did not get to the more complex, like environmentally aware type animations. That's kind of more a planned test. But you basically want to get all the different degrees of approach angle, both when you're not trying to kiss, and that would basically be like, okay, you haven't decided that you're going to try to kiss them, but you can still see an animation apply when you're just physically walking close to them, where there's maybe more eye contact, or like your bodies lean towards each other rather than leaning away. So that was what we were trying to record here, is when I walk close to her, is kind of get that sort of body presence. And then when I have a higher sexual tension, then we're leaning into each other. When it's very low, then she's at least leaning away. As far as the players goes, it depends on what you kind of pre-commit to as a sort of stance or attitude. And this is kind of like automatically handled. It's the same way that actually combat works, like when you're fighting monsters. If you've watched the previous blogs or clips from Twitter, then you can see how the magical attacks kind of automatically get triggered based on distance. So this is kind of applying the same concept, but with a lot closer range on that sort of a thing. So anyways, what I'm doing now is setting up the motion capture suits. So these are 2 Rococo suits with the hand gloves as well. I'm a huge fan of Rococo's motion capture suits. I've been using them for a little over a year. This is one of the first couple tests I've done with another person in the motion capture suit. I've actually found it super helpful, though it's a bit strange, to put the second motion capture suit on a mannequin as like a stand-in, so I can do a lot of tests in advance. Because one of the really cool things with something they just launched, the Coil Pro, which you can kind of see as the box in the middle of the screen down here, is it actually gives you like global positioning that's pretty accurate, and most importantly, it gives the 2 actors like a relative space that's pretty close. Sometimes it feels like near exact, which is pretty exciting. We're trying to calibrate it, so I've got it sitting on like a table, a standing desk table. So I think it's a little bit far out of range. If I had to re-record this, definitely for the next session, I'll just put the Coil Pro on a tripod and get it a little bit closer to the space. You do get a pretty big bubble, but we're kind of on the edge where it's losing some accuracy. So a lot of these animations leave some accuracy to be desired. But still, a lot of it came through really well. With you see some of these kisses where our hands sometimes stay on each other's bodies, sometimes we clip through. But a lot of these things can also be fixed with filters on the game engine side. I actually was not able to get the live stream connected fast enough where I could kind of keep things moving. But the plan is to continue kind of connecting the live stream to the dialogue, and then get more animations straight into the game and able to kind of replay and then see whether we need to re-record or move on to the next scene.